Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks. Or watch thousands of movies on demand. All for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPNNW.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the inside drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Tuesday morning. I got an echo, a big echo. I'll just turn down my... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Sorry. That's why I was talking slowly, because I was hearing myself talk back to me. But you are listening to The Inside Drive. I'm Ryan Mulvey, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach and all the beautiful Bay County surrounding areas. You're obviously either listening on the radio or watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. If you want to do that, all you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate all of our followers, all of our subscribers, and really, really appreciate everybody who shares our show. That goes a long way for us. So click that share button. All you got to do is click two things: share, post, boom. There you are. You're sharing our show for us, helping us out. And I know you guys have helped us out a lot, too, as the Best of A voting. I still haven't heard anything yet. I'm going to be patient, though. Patience is a virtue. That is for certain. And if you want to head over to your mobile app, your Google Play, Apple Store, all you got to do is search up 104.3. You can also find that on ESPNPC.com. While you're there at ESPNPC.com, you can sign up for Scorpion TV. With code ESPNNW, it's only $45.08 a month.
That's a bargain.
That's probably about at least half of what you're paying. And you can get it up to 5 devices at the same time. So if you wanted to split that with somebody, it wouldn't be too much you'd have to pay there.
That's what I did.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Smart.
I hook up my brother, and he loves, he's a big sports guy, so I said, okay, well, I'm not going to use it,
Yeah.
So why not?
I mean, as long as you're not using 5 devices in your household, you should.
Well, this is different here. So 1, 2, 3. No.
Yeah, so you've got an opening.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, if you've got like a rental house or something like that, and you got TVs in every room and stuff like that, it may get close to it, but that shouldn't stop you from signing up from Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, NFL Network, Red Zone, and all your pay-per-view events, including boxing, UFC, whatever it may be, is all included with Scorpion
Now, do you
TV.
know all those channels, what that would cost if you went through your local cable company?
Do people still use local cable companies?
I don't.
I know with streaming services, you're looking at a lot of money. I mean, most pay-per-view events are anywhere from $70 to $100, depending on the type of card it is.
If you notice, the Scorpion TV also includes pay.
That's what I was just talking about. Yeah,
and also includes all the stuff on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
Which is also an additional charge.
Absolutely. Usually it costs you about $140-$150 a year. Not too bad a month, but
right.
certainly a year. I mean, that you're going to save on that as well. All you got to do again, head to to ESPNPC.com. Look for the Scorpion TV logo. Click on that. Use code ESPNNW. Don't forget that. You can use that at checkout and get your price all the way down to $45.08 a month. We are 57 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes, and 30 seconds to the start of NFL football, which means we're about, 45 days-ish to the start? Yes, 45 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes, and 20 seconds and counting.
And we are chomping at the bit.
Oh, we are getting ever so ready and close to the college and NFL football seasons. Can't wait for all that to get kicked off. But what always happens is when it comes, as fast as it comes, as fast as it goes. So we're looking forward to it being here, though. That is for certain. I do want to start with a sport that we don't really talk. I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but there's some interesting news and some updates. Want to keep everybody posted on the Wimbledon tournament. That is the second Grand Slam of the year for the men's and women's tennis circuit. Did have interesting match yesterday. Number 1 ranked Jannik Sinner was playing Dimitrov, and he lost the first set and the second set 6-3, 7-5, and then the third set was tied 2-2. And then, unfortunately, Dimitrov had to retire from the match due to a pectoral injury. The injury occurred during the third set while he was serving. Dimitrov immediately clutched his chest in pain and was unable to continue playing despite having a 2-set lead. He left the court for treatment, but eventually returned to shake hands with Sinner, conceding the match. So number 1 seed kind of avoided an upset yesterday by way of injury. And, when you have to retire from a match in tennis, it counts for a win on the other side of things. And if you were to have bet Sinner yesterday to win that particular match, you would have gotten fairly lucky because that does count as a win for Sinner. It continues on today, mainly on ESPN. As we said, Sinner ended up winning that one via retire. Shelton won that one he lost the first set 6-3. Won the second set 6-1, and then 7-6, 7-5. Obviously, the 7-6 victory was in a tiebreaker, and he dominated that tiebreaker 7-1. He will face Sinner today in the quarterfinals, which I believe are getting ready to get started here very soon. You also had Silic and Cabali play yesterday in the round of 16. Cabali won that one 6-4, 6-4, lost the third set 7-6 in the tiebreak, and then won the final set 7-6 in a tiebreak as well. He will face the Serbian legend Novak Djokovic, who lost the first set to De Minaur yesterday 6-1, but then rallied back, winning 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 to close that match out and move on to another quarterfinal match in his history. Another American that is in the mix is Fritz. He won 6-1, 3-0, and then his opponent Thompson retired that. So he got the victory, but was leading anyway. Still a long way to go, though. Best out of 5 sets. And then you have Kachanavov and these names are getting tough. He played a Polish gentleman, won that one 6-4, 6-2, 6-3 in straight sets, and he will take on Mr. Fritz in the quarterfinals today. So we've got 2 Americans in there, and on the last quarterfinal match, you've got Norrie versus Alcaraz. Alcaraz and Sinner, obviously the big-time favorites here for the gotcha. I was reading at the same time. 2 Americans still left in the quarterfinals. Hopefully, at least one of those can make it to the semis, maybe both of them. But luckily, neither one of them is playing. Shelton's playing Sinner, but Fritz is playing Kachanov. I think I got that one right this time. So we may see at least 1, maybe 2 Americans in the semifinals. I'd love to see an American in the final. I feel like it's been forever since we've seen any Americans in the final. But over there on the women's draw, quarterfinals get underway today. You've got the number 1 seed, Amanda Sabalenka, versus Segmund. And then you've got another American, or you've got an American. That is actually Amanda Anisimova, which doesn't sound American, but that's fine. Playing somebody with a really, really long last name that begins with the letter P. That's the only American. So we only got 1 American left in the quarterfinals. And they will get underway, I believe, tomorrow. Men's are today, women's are tomorrow. Then the men's semifinals will come after the women's quarterfinals. Then you kind of repeat that process.
Listen, no offense, but I'm glad you're reading those names and not me.
I struggle with names to begin with. But, when you slide over into the tennis world, starts to get a little bit dicey. That is for sure. A lot of internet.
Hockey is even worse.
Hockey can get certainly crazy. And, speaking of hockey, there was I don't know if you've seen, it's been going around on social media. There was this golf fight. There was probably about 6 or 7 people that have sent it to me. And it certainly sounded like it was in Canada and had the kind of feel of a Canadian hockey fight.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's actually kind of a funny video because the instigator was doing all this stuff. And then eventually he gets thrown into a pond. And it's pretty comical.
God.
Pretty comical.
I had a friend of mine, he owns the Ice Flyers in Pensacola.
Oh, nice.
And he called me one time. He goes, man, my announcer, the announcer that's inside the arena, man, he's out. I got to have somebody fill in.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I've never done it before. Well, no, it's not calling the game. You're the announcer. Oh, it was a disaster. It was. I got booed. How about that?
Wow. That's an afternoon delight debrief if I've ever heard one. Oh, but yes, So you were had to announce the national anthem, the starting lineups, and that kind of stuff.
And when there was a penalty, there was a sponsor involved, who the player was on both teams that got called for it. Yeah. And I butchered those names. Oh, it was awful.
Well, if you never read them before, it's really hard to do. Even simpler names are tough too, because some of our names have very weird pronunciation based on what it looks like.
Yeah, and when I don't know all the rules.
Yeah.
So I had to have a kind of a spotter beside me that was the call's icing, and this so and so's called for icing, and this update brought to you by blah blah blah.
Yep.
So I was like, God, it was a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
I said, I won't do it again.
Yeah, no, there you go. Hopefully their regular guy's been there now for a while.
People started saying stuff about it on Facebook, and my younger brother, was saying, hey, and I called him and I said, hey, look, man, you can't defend that.
No.
Just let him go.
Let him finish.
Don't try to defend me. It was a disaster, and I admit it.
The game will eventually end.
That's right.
Funny stuff there. On the odds side of things with Wimbledon, if you were to pick the winner of the champion of the entire tournament, Carlos Alcaraz is currently the favorite at -125. But you can get some good odds on Novak Djokovic at +225, Jannik Sinner +300, and then it jumps up significantly to the American Taylor Fritz at +1,200, 12-1. Ben Shelton, the other American, 15-1, and then Kabali 60-1, and then Nori 100-1. So obviously, it looks like it's pretty top heavy in the final 8 competitors in the Wimbledon, and that's on the men's side. On the women's side, let's see here. Your favorite is Anna Sabalenka. She's -145. Aga Swiatek is +350. Mira Andreeva is +400. Amanda Antonova, that's the American, she's 5-1. And then Samsonova is 20-1. Bencic is 25-1. And then the big long P last name that I'm not even going to try is 30-1. So maybe a little bit more competitive on the women's side, according to the odds anyway. And the odds can certainly be manipulated and figured out. So a lot of stuff going on today in the tennis world all the way through Sunday when I believe the men's final is on Sunday and the women's final is on Saturday. So before we know it, the Wimbledon Grand Slam will be over, and that's how we know we're getting closer to school starting, because usually about mid-July that ends up being done. Braves get underway again tonight, so they did
late night game.
Yeah, late night game. They're all the way over there in Sacramento, taking on the Oakland A's for a 3-game series. That coverage starts tonight right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Make sure you have our free mobile app downloaded. You can find that in the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do is search 104.3. Coverage starts 7:50. First pitch 9:05 right here in the Central Time Zone. Same thing tomorrow. We're just going to run it back. Coverage at 7:50. First pitch 9:05. And then Thursday it pushes up just a little bit. Coverage starts at 6:50. First pitch at 8 o'clock. We appreciate Billberg Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and Hometown Towing for bringing you Atlanta Braves baseball right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. hopefully the Braves can find a way to string some wins together because they are falling ever so further behind in that NL East. Now 13 games back of the the division leading Philadelphia Phillies, who have been kind of going back and forth with those New York Metropolitans. The Mets are now a game behind the Phillies, and then there's a big gap between the third, fourth, and fifth place team, with the Marlins being 11 games back, Atlanta Braves being 13 games back, and then the Washington Nationals being 15 and a half games back. So obviously the division pretty much getting close to out of reach, but they're hanging in there, kind of. They're 9.5 games back of a wild card spot, so they're going to have to make a heck of a run here in the second half of the season. But, when they dominated a few years ago, they lost in that second round of the playoffs, and maybe this year it's the second half climb and getting in there. Obviously, they're been struggling with some injuries again this year, but it's kind of par for the course in every professional sport, is how you can weather those injuries or how you can not. Really cool documentary I stumbled across yesterday on Amazon Prime. It's the Madden game and the Madden football game, EA Sports documentary of how it kind of came to be in all the years leading all the way up to the modern day games. So if you're a big sports buff there or video game sports buff, I should say, you might want to check that out. It was super interesting, very, very entertaining and informative, as I think Madden 26 comes out next month. I know College Football 26 is right around the corner, so everybody's really excited about that. Again, that'll be the second edition back since they had about the 10-year hiatus of making those video games. But I also didn't realize there was a competition between the 2K NFL games and EA. That was early on, and then EA ended up getting the license from the NFL to be able to continue on, and that kind of knocked any competitors out of there because no one's going to play the game if it's not the actual teams and the actual players. But very, very
interesting. But Madden didn't have anything to do with like the putting it together, the creation of it.
He actually was extremely involved, which I was kind of surprised about. Like, he was the one helping get the plays inserted and installed and all those things, and he had to basically give the final approval to every game prior to him passing away. So, yeah, he was really heavily involved, and the whole story is fascinating. So,
where'd you see it?
It's Amazon Prime, if you have you have that. And I think I don't know if you can get that on Scorpion TV or not, but I know you can get the ESPN Plus and a lot of those other documentaries, Max, all that stuff.
But so many people have Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
now, you know what I mean?
And it's included with your Prime membership. Yeah. I think Prime Days are going on now, right now too, if I'm not mistaken. Not that I'm trying to plug Amazon Prime, but it's about that time, and school's right around the corner, so you have to start getting all those supplies up and running. Yep. I might save that. Well, actually, we got about 5 minutes, so I'll jump into this. Randy, did you see the whole story about the gambling situation with the pitcher from the Guardians, Ortiz?
No.
Well, I'm going to enlighten you. It's pretty wild, and I don't know. You'd have to kind of see the pitches, too, to really understand it. But basically what happened is, I'll dive into the story here just a little bit. It's been for a little while now. I think last Wednesday is when it first went down. But last Wednesday evening, less than 24 hours before he was scheduled to take the mound for the Guardians at Wrigley Field, Luis Ortiz was instead boarding a flight back to Cleveland. Shortly before the first pitch on Wednesday, after a day of MLB draft prep meetings, Guardians executives learned that Ortiz was being placed on the non-disciplinary paid leave. Multiple sources told The Athletic that the probe is related to gambling. Ortiz will remain on leave through at least the end of the All-Star break in 2 weeks. This was obviously last week, so it's in 1 week now. The first order of business for team president when it happened, Chris Antonetti, and the general manager Mike Chernoff was to tab a new starter for that Thursday game. They selected Joey Cantillo, who was slated to start for the AAA Columbus. Then they booked the Thursday morning flights to Chicago so they can meet with the team ahead of its series finale against the Chicago Cubs. The situation raises a myriad of questions, but many don't have answers quite yet. Cleveland's brass insists it doesn't have any more information than what has been publicly reported. Not something we were expecting, Antonetti said. Here's what we know. What exactly is in question? According to ESPN, 2 pitches. It's not just the pitches, though. It's the unusual betting activity tied to them. Bets placed on whether the pitches would be balls or hit by pitches were flagged by a betting integrity firm and referred to sportsbook operators. The first instance being examined came in the second inning of a June 15th game against the Seattle Mariners. Ortiz started Randy Arozarena, the first batter of the inning, with a 87-mile-per-hour slider far outside the zone. He wound up walking Arozarena, which ultimately spiraled into a 5-run inning for Seattle. The second instance came in the third inning of a June 27th game against the St. Louis Cardinals. Ortiz spiked a first-pitch slider significantly wide of the strike zone to catcher Pedro Pages, the first batter of the inning. 2 pitches later, Pages hit a home run. The Cardinals scored 3 times in that inning. Overall, Ortiz has thrown a first-pitch strike to 63.1% of batters this season, according to data from Sports Radar. Major League Baseball has declined to comment on anything related to the investigation on whether the law enforcement is involved. We really don't know anything that's going on, said manager Stephen Voigt, so we can't control that. This leaves Ortiz. Antonetti hasn't spoken with the 26-year-old pitcher and isn't aware of anyone who has. But Ortiz is permitted to have contact with the organization. He cannot, however, visit Progressive Field or any other Guardians facilities. He would learn that it's probably going to be a few weeks before they figure out what's going on. But basically, the whole synopsis of the story, if you watch these 2 pitches, they are so far outside the zone. But I didn't even know that there's several sports books that you can bet on individual pitches, whether it's going to be a ball, whether it's going to be a strike, whether it's going to be a hit by pitch. And these 2 particular pitches had a huge spike in betting activity, and then you saw how wide they were. So the thought process is that he might have said, hey, this pitch in this inning, I'm going to throw a ball. So bet it being a ball. So you had all this big spike in betting activity. Again, nothing. This is all speculation at the moment, and they got to investigate and figure it out. But pretty wild stuff. A lot of betting scandals been, and obviously the Shohei thing kind of got watered under the bridge very quickly because he's the face of baseball. I'm not saying that he did anything or didn't, but yeah, here we are again talking about another particular interesting investigation. We'll keep you posted on it and see if anything comes out of it. But just another part of sports betting that throws a wrinkle in everything. Yep. When money's involved, people have a tendency to do stupid things. So,
yeah, exactly right.
But we'll keep you posted on everything going on with that. But we got to take a quick break. When we get back, it's my good friend, Steve Alexander, but we know him better as Doc A. We're going to talk about a lot of the NBA trade action that is going on. You're listening to Inside Drive. We'll be right back with Doc A.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Dan Patrick Show.
LeBron's staying, but they want to be in the sweepstakes for Giannis. That's what struck me here is, hey, Milwaukee has traded a big man to Los Angeles before, and it worked out really well for the Lakers. Can they get Giannis? Would they be involved in that picture when you clear LeBron's salary off the books?
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Tuesday's weather forecast. Partly sunny this afternoon and evening with a high near 87 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 80. The same tomorrow, around 87 with some sun and a likelihood of thunderstorms. Mostly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms Thursday and very warm, around 86. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
When it comes to building smart and roofing right, TK Vandy's is the name you can trust. They're your go-to for general contracting, design, build solutions, and top quality roofing. From concept to completion, they deliver excellence on time and on budget. Whether it's a custom build or a complex renovation, they've got you covered. Literally. Call TK Vandy today and build something better together. TK Vandy, built with purpose, roofed with pride.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices. All color gemstone jewelry is on sale now at 60% off. Emeralds, rubies, sapphires, amethysts, blue topaz, tanzanites, opals, and many more. And with just 20% down, we'll hold your sparkle until Christmas. Tracy's Fine Jewelry takes the stress out of the holidays. So shop now where Santa shops during our Christmas in July sale at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. buys over 10 items in the express lane. He pays with checks and he doesn't return his shopping carts.
You have ruined groceries for me.
Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive. ESPN Northwest Florida. Not sorry.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. Doc A is back in the house, and I am here with him. Excited that. Also, that rejoiner, I don't have to return my shopping carts because my kids typically return my shopping carts for me.
Awfully nice of them.
It is awfully nice of them. But usually I pick them up wherever they're getting at. But anyway, it's been a little while, but we got Doc A back on the line. Doc, how are you doing? How was your 4th of July?
It was very good. Heard a lot of wagon wheel. I got a lot of wagon wheel videos sent to me from across the world.
Yes. The wagon wheel enthusiast.
I think the 4th of July is a big wagon wheel day because everybody's outside waiting for fireworks, and there's DJs and there's bands. And, wagon wheel, I think I've proven, is the #1 covered song in the world. So everybody who's friends with me on Facebook, basically, when they hear wagon wheel,
they associate it with you.
They know that is who I have become, the wagon wheel guy.
You are indeed not only Doc A, but the wagon wheel guy. Even I
got a lot of wagon wheel.
Yeah, there you go. Even I text you over the 4th of July. I think it was the 4th of July, maybe the day before the 4th of July. And where I was at the time was over there watching the Grand Lagoon fireworks. And guess what that live band was playing? Wagon wheel. And of course, the first thing I did, pick up my phone, text you, and say, I got some wagon wheel live. It's not that hard of a song to play. I think that's why it's covered so much. It's just a rotation of 4 easy chords. So that's probably why it's played so much. But
I think if you just hear it occasionally, it's an okay song. I mean, it's catchy and people like it, and people like to sing it. And but I just feel like every single guy that has a guitar covers wagon wheel. And I can't think of another song that I've heard covered that much.
There's probably some data somewhere that says most covered songs by live musicians across the world, and I'm sure Wagon Wheel is up there near the top. I'll have to look that up and see if that's an actual statistic.
A lot of local musicians here in North Georgia now have put signs up when they play, and it's like, if you want to hear American Pie, it'll cost you $5. If you want to hear a Neil Diamond song, it's $10, and if you want me to play Wagon Wheel, it's like $100.
That's awesome.
Because they don't want to play it. They're tired of playing it.
No doubt. That reminds me, there was a place when I went to school, not to keep telling stories, but I'm going to. We're there at Broadway at the beach, which is kind of like for people here, it's kind of like a pier park, but a little different, surrounded by a lot of water. Anyway, they had all these different clubs and bars and stuff like that, but one of the things they had was Crocodile Rocks, which was a dueling piano place. And dueling piano places are some of my favorite places to go, simply because you just watch all these, they'll be like, okay, all the LSU fans, we'll play the LSU fight song if we get enough money, et cetera, and they just kind of keep taking money to play songs, and it's a beautiful way, to make a good bit of money, and they're so good.
Make a ton of money.
A ton of money. It's wild, and they're so good at playing the piano. I mean, they literally can play anything you request, and it's just, I love dueling piano places, so not to
ironically, my good friend Doug Utterback sent me a wagon wheel video on July 5th of dueling pianos playing wagon wheel.
Nice. Double wagon wheel. I like it. Yeah, good stuff. I think there's one too in the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas that they do a fantastic job as well. Love some dueling pianos, but we'll jump right into the NBA. Obviously, you guys still got your podcast going, you and Rick Kamla. What time is that podcast, Doc? Because I always get the notification on my phone, but then I don't look to see what actual time it is.
It kind of jumps around in the off season.
Gotcha.
Right now, we're going live Mondays and Wednesdays at 11, and then we record a show for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think. The live ones are 11 a.m., and then I don't know what time he rolls out the recorded ones, but probably around 11 a.m. is my guess. But they're all super timely and up to date. And like yesterday, we spent all day talking about trades and free agency signings and all that stuff. And there is no off season in the NBA.
That's true. That's true. It'll be back here right before we know it. Seems like that and the NHL. As soon as it ends, it's kicking back up again with preseason, what feels like just a month or two later, but that's actually the reality. All right, let's talk about some of these trades, some of these free agent signings, some of the wild stuff going on in the NBA right now. I'm going to start with those Phoenix Suns and how much of a spiral they've been in the last 3 years. Governor Matt Ishbia and the Suns have spent the last 3 years digging themselves into a deeper and deeper hole. Now they're all in on our bad tour. Kind of the off-season recap, they traded Kevin Durant for pennies on what they gave up for him. They're about to buy out Bradley Beal, giving him $96 million over 5 years to play elsewhere, waving goodbye to the Big Three without a single playoff win in return. Kind of another way to look at it, for KD and Beal, they gave up Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, 4 first-rounders, 5 first-round swaps, and 6 second-rounders. And soon, they'll have Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and Kaman Malak to show for it. Where do the Suns go for here? Because that just sounds horrible.
Well, they signed Mark Williams to be their center, and I like that move. He's going to be a fantasy stud if he plays. Who knows how bad this team is going to tank and not even try to win games. But if they play Mark Williams, he's going to be good. And then I really think Devin Booker, who's the last standing guy from the Big Three, he should have a monster fantasy year, scoring a ton of points, handing out assists, and
because he's going to have to.
Booker should have a monster year, and then Jalen Green, I think, has a chance to be pretty fun playing for a really bad team. And then you've got the Rockets. They're just really good. If Fred VanVleet can shoot better than 39% or whatever he shot last year, was terrible. If he can have a decent season, Houston has a shot to win the West and win it all, I think. The fact they added Kevin Durant, I don't love it. I wish they would have stuck with the youth movement, but they're really, really good now. And then, I had another point I was going to make, and it just because we were talking about what happens to Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
So they're going to buy him out, and since the Clippers just traded away Norman Powell, I feel like he's going to the Clippers, and then that's going to make the Clippers a really good team with a starting lineup of James Harden, the guy I just mentioned. My gosh,
Bradley Beal.
Can you tell I've been on vacation?
Sound like me forgetting stuff you say instantaneously.
James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard. They just signed. They just got John Collins in the trade, and then they've got Ivica Zubac at center, who was basically an all-star last year. He had an incredible season. The Clippers are going to be fantastic if Beal actually plays, which he usually doesn't. Like, I am not a Bradley Beal guy, man. I wish they would send him to Utah or Washington or someplace where we'll never really hear from him again. But if he goes to the Clippers like I think he's going to, and he stays healthy and plays, and Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, that team is going to be scary good.
Yeah. The West is going to be interesting, and I think OKC is still the front runner, but a lot of these teams making a lot of moves. The whole details of the Kevin Durant trade have been finalized, and the first time in NBA history you had a seven teams involved in trades. We'll start with the Houston Rockets. Obviously, they acquired Kevin Durant and Clint Capella via a sign and trade with the Atlanta Hawks. The Phoenix Suns did receive a lot of people, so they are going to have some guys, like you were just saying. They received Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kyman Malak, a 2025 10th overall pick, Rasheer Fleming, Kobe Bray, Daquan Plowden, and a 2026 and 2032 second-round pick. Your Atlanta Hawks acquired David Roddy, a 2031 second-round pick swap, and cash from the Rockets. The Brooklyn Nets received a 2026 and 2030 second-round pick. The Warriors received Alex Tuhey and Jameer Mashak. The Los Angeles Lakers received Adu Fierro, and the Minnesota Timberwolves received Rocco Zikarsky and a 2026 and a 2032 second-round pick and cash considerations. With all that being said, in your opinion, who do you think won that whole thing, and who do you think were some of the losers in this particular 7-team trade deal?
The whole thing sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit.
It really does. It really does.
I play in 30-team basketball, fantasy basketball.
Yep, 30 deep.
Every player in the entire league gets drafted pretty much. And I've only heard of like 4 dudes out of that whole list you read off. Kevin Durant, Clint Capella, Jalen Green, and Dylan Brooks. After that, I'm sure some of these guys, Malawak was a number 10 overall.
Yeah.
There's some second-round picks in there. But, I mean, there is just a bunch of nothing here. And the only thing that's cool about this trade is that it was 7 teams that were involved. I don't even know how half of them were involved. Like, somebody just, got a couple picks. Like, the Nets just get a couple picks. I have no idea what they gave up. I have no idea what some of these other teams gave up. Like, it's just, 7-team trade, awesome, but it's really not. I think the losers are us, the fans, because we have to sit through guys on the radio reading 17 names we'd never heard of.
Yep.
And then the winners are the Houston Rockets because they got Kevin Durant and have a chance to win a title now. And Clint Capella gets to go back home because he started, I think, in Houston. It's kind of funny because it's like, 17 trade. I wonder what that looks like. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm good. I didn't need to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of a lot of, like you said, the losers in this deal, the fans of the NBA. Jumping around, there's been some recent activity. We'll start with, and I think a few weeks ago when we talked, you were pretty high on the Magic next year, and they've locked up Pablo to a Supermax extension. I want to say it was $275 million a year. Let me pull that up real quick. Pablo Banchero.
It's Paolo. There is no B. There is no B in his name. There is in his last name.
Yeah, but there's definitely no B in his Paolo Banchero. And Magic agreed to 5-year max rookie contract extension worth up to $287 million. Good move there for the Magic to kind of continue into the future?
Yeah, I mean, he's a future star if he's not already he's a future superstar. He's already a star. And that gives them Paolo and Franz Wagner and Desmond Bain and Jalen Suggs. Very solid lineup. They play defense. I think the Miami Heat may have surpassed them with the that they made. And then New York is going to be very good again with a new coach, Mike Brown, I think it's going to be. But the Magic are going to be really good. And Paulo and Franz Wagner and Desmond Bain are going to be very fun to watch play. So I think it's cool that you guys have the Magic, and the Magic are kind of an up-and-coming team.
Yeah, timing is looking pretty good on that one. And they seem like the team with the best names, too. So, I mean, a lot of these other teams have crazy names, but Paulo and Franz, like, I don't know if it gets any better than that. That's some cool stuff.
Desmond.
Yes. What now, you mentioned Mike Brown now being the coach of the Knicks. What do you think about him leading the Knicks? So what is his floor, I guess? I mean, they just fired their new coach for losing it, or their previous coach, who's really brought them back to fruition, going to the conference finals for the first time since the 80s, and then he gets canned. So if they don't make it to the finals, how long does Mike Brown last? I know he's been fired, I think, by 5 other teams in the last several years.
Yeah, he was with the Pacers for a while, and he coached the LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers for a while, and all reports are Mike Brown is a super nice guy. He's a player's coach. But tell you what, I took my kids I got really good floor seats to watch LeBron against the Hawks back in the day. This is probably like 2007, 2008. And Mike Brown was coaching that team, and he was not coaching that team. LeBron James was coaching that team. And I remember looking at my kids during a timeout, and I was watching LeBron just do all the talking, and Mike Brown just kind of standing there. And I told my kids, I'm like, LeBron's coaching his team. Mike Brown's not even coaching his team. And that's always kind of stuck with me. And the thing about the Knicks this year, I don't know. First of all, I'm not really sure how good of a coach Mike Brown is. Like, I know he's got a lot of experience. I know he's a good guy. I just don't know how good of a coach he is. That team is weird because under Tom Thibodeau, they really only had a 6-man rotation. Like, they played 8 guys, but 2 of them only played like 8 minutes a game. So they were really only running 6 guys out there, and they don't have a bench. And I think in today's NBA, it's extremely hard to win if you don't have a bench. And now we don't have Thibodeau playing the same 5 guys 35 minutes a game. I think Mike Brown's gonna have a tough time making it work. Now, Kamla thinks the Knicks are locked to win the East this coming season because they do have the most talent, but they have the worst bench. So I'm leery of that. I like Miami and Orlando a little better, I think.
Nice. Very cool. We'll end on this topic. Kind of interesting. I read this one this morning, and the Pacers president was shocked by Miles Turner's Bucks contract and learned about the deal from NBA reporter Shams Shanaria. And that was reported back on July 1st that Turner agreed to join the Bucks on a 4-year, $107 million contract, which ended the chances that the big man would return to the only NBA organization he had ever known at that point. I just don't understand how you don't know that that's going to happen, especially finding out from a report that it was happening. I was just going to get your thoughts on that, Doc A, and how that comes to be, or you think it's not actually true.
I don't know how real that is. If he's saying it, it's probably true, but I don't understand. Maybe the Pacers, it reminds me of the Freddie Freeman thing when he left Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because supposedly everybody was shocked at that, but I was told 2 years earlier that Freddie was going to L.A. at exactly when he went to L.A. So I don't know. Maybe the Pacers thought that they were going to give them more time or a chance to counter or whatnot. But my guess is once Tyrese Halliburton went down, the Pacers were kind of putting feelers out there that, hey, we're not going to be able to pay Miles what he really wants. So he went and got the best deal he could. From what I read before this latest report came out that Pacers were blindsided, I read that they weren't going to offer him very much money, and I think he probably knew that. Had Tyrese Halliburton not gotten hurt, because he's not going to play at all this coming season, had he not gotten hurt, this whole thing would have gone down differently, and Miles Turner would probably still be with the Pacers. And on another quick Pacer note, if you play fantasy basketball, my super sleeper for this upcoming season is a guy named Jay Huff, who was signed by the Pacers and is now probably going to start at center for them and replace Miles Turner. And he is he's my favorite center to draft in fantasy drafts this coming year, right now.
Jay Huff.
Jay Huff.
Got it. Huff?
All white guy.
Gotcha.
He looks like he's about 40 years old. I don't know if anybody remembers Granville Waiters from back in the day from Ohio State, but he reminds me a little bit of Granville Waiters.
Nice. Sleeper for the upcoming NBA fantasy season. I like it, Doc. Well, we've run out of time. I wish I could talk to you longer because it's always a pleasure. Hopefully you don't hear Wagon Wheel too many times between now and next Tuesday. Have a great weekend, great rest of your week, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
I'm going with Rory McIlroy in the Scottish, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. In his own backyard up there. That was our final question, so Doc A answered it for me. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive. We are hanging out here on this warm but beautiful Tuesday morning. We'll be approaching the afternoon here in just a little bit. We'll be right back with some Live PGA talk. You're listening to The Inside Drive here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
The Steelers are officially all in. I heard that a lot yesterday because they got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and tight end Jonnu Smith. Well, if they're all in, that's a pair of eights. Okay, that ain't pocket aces, folks. So if that's all in.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Looking for an unbeatable deal on a pre-owned ride? Head straight to Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street. An amazing selection of quality used vehicles under $14,995. Our friendly sales team is geared up to help you discover the perfect match for your needs and your wallet. Plus, we guarantee a hassle-free experience. Buy here, pay here. Financing options are available, and everyone is approved. You'll find incredible value and service that shines. You gotta come to Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job. It's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control. Our family protecting your family.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Join the best of a winning Inside Drive with all your lines, props, and covers.
Winning
on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. That slightly sounds like, Monday Night Football?
I know. I thought about that when I played it. I was like, oh, man, talk about getting geared up for Monday Night Football.
It is right around the corner. As we mentioned earlier, we are within 60 days, technically within 58 days, as we are 57 days, 12 hours, 15 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting on the kickoff for the NFL season, which starts on Thursday Night Football. I believe that'll be on NBC, potentially right here on ESPN Northwest Florida as well. It's a big start to the NFC East division as the Eagles will take on the Dallas Cowboys. Be interesting to see how everybody is looking going into the new season. A lot of fun stuff coming up. I want to talk a little bit about LIV and PGA earnings. It's a fun little article I stumbled across talking about how much has each LIV golfer made compared to their PGA Tour earnings. So we're going to dive into that and kind of learn a little bit about these decisions these guys made, whether it was a good decision or not, despite whether you think they should have stayed loyal to the PGA Tour or, took the bag, as Keith always says. He'll be joining us tomorrow at noon. If you want to check out our podcast coming up tonight, it's called Two Off the Tee. We do it every Tuesday. That'll be at, I believe, 8 p.m. in the Central Time Zone. If you're in the Eastern Time Zone, appreciate you listening. And that'll be at 9 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. We go all over all the DFS betting, and I think Keith has got some fun stories coming up tonight as well. But as always, he'll be joining us tomorrow as well here on the Inside Drive. We'll start with Dustin Johnson. The PGA Tour, he made $75,417,837. That was 311 events. That equates to $242,501 per event. Not too shabby. Now let's slide over to the LIV golf world. He's played in 44 events and he's earned, this is just their earnings through playing, not necessarily that bonus they got for jumping over there, because a lot of those numbers have been very fluid, and I don't think anybody's ever locked them down. But the LIV Golf, he's, like I said, played in 44 events. He's going $57,739,755, which equates to $1,324,744 per event. So he went from $242,000 an event to $1.3 million per event. Doesn't seem like a bad decision there for Dustin Johnson, who I've always been a big fan. Me and him went to school at the same time. I did not play golf with him, but I played a few games of pool with him. He just kind of ran in a different crowd than I did. He was more partying and that kind of stuff, and I'm not trying to throw any shade, but everybody knows about Dustin Johnson's past, and I know Coastal Carolina, he was known for that kind of stuff. But certainly doing pretty well right now on the LIV Tour, earning $1.3 million per event.
That partying paid off, didn't it?
It did. He just raw talent and could hit the ball further than anybody I'd ever seen at the time. Obviously, now these guys are hitting it even further. But the LIV, $4 million is given to each individual winner, and they also get the added extra of the team. I think they split $3, $4, $5 million, something like that. So a lot of opportunity to win a lot of money each individual event, especially if you or your team is at the top. Let's go to Jon Rahm, who I believe was the last person to make the switch to the LIV Tour. And again, those numbers of what they signed for are certainly not disclosed, but a lot of these guys have their contracts coming up here pretty soon. Jon Rahm played in 153 events on the PGA Tour. He won $51,603,851, which equates to $337,280 per event. Not too bad for the when he was on the PGA Tour. Obviously, he made the switch over to LIV. He was one of the last big name guys to make that move. In 21 events, he's earned $46,576,946. That equates to $2,217,949 per event. Not a bad increase for the Spaniard there. That's quite an increase, actually, per event, especially only playing 21 of them. But a lot of rumors saying, I know Keith talks about it a lot, too, a lot of rumors saying that he's disappointed he made the switch over there, but I'm sure his bank account and his family aren't as disappointed as maybe the golfer is there. But, it's kind of how it goes. It was a trade-off to make all that money, and he's still playing in the majors, and we got one more coming up this year. Open Championship, not this week, but I believe it is next week, because it always follows the Scottish Open, which we got coming up this week, which is one of the stronger fields of the year. I believe it is the second strongest field besides TPC Sawgrass and the Players Championship, because a lot of the LIV guys will be able to play in this event as well. We'll move on to the hothead himself, Tyrrell Hatton. On the PGA Tour, he played in 132 events, making $22,682,111. That equates to $171,834 per event. Now, jumping up to the LIV Tour, he hasn't made as much money, but it's been in a lot less events. He's played in 22 events, made $20,561,380. That equates to just shy of $1 million per event, $934,608 per event. Certainly a nice increase per event there for Mr. Hatton, who is a hothead out there on the tour. Brendan Grace, the South African on the PGA Tour, he played 184 events, earning himself $12,296,547, equaling in comparison, low $66,826 per event. But I'm pretty sure all of us sitting here and listening would take that per event, whatever that event would be in comparison to us. And on the LIV Tour, he's played 42 events and earned about $20 million more than he had in the PGA Tour. $32,168,511. That equals $765,916 per event, which, if you're looking at proportionally wise, I think he made the right decision there as far as a financial decision. Peter Uihlein, who is son of the Titleist, or the Acushnet, that's the parent company of Titleist, founder. Peter Uihlein played his first professional event at a golf club I used to work at when we used to host the Hooters Tour, but that's neither here nor there. He played in 126 events on the PGA Tour, earning just $4,043,733, equaling $32,093 per event. LIV Golf, he's played in 43 events, earning $28,691,265. That equals $666,238 per event. I think he's probably got if I were to to calculate it, I think he's probably got the biggest jump in per event earnings when he made the switch. Because he wasn't, he's a decent golfer, but when he was on the tour, he wasn't tearing it down like a lot of these other guys were. Patrick Reed, the one that everybody loves to hate, he played in 272 events on tour, earning $38 million. That equated to $140,000 per event. Bumped up to the LIV Tour. He played in 43 events and earned just shy of $36 million, equaling about $829 or $830,000 per event. Taylor Gooch, who has been known to make some controversial comments about major winners with him not being in the event. There should be an asterisk on it, but that's neither here nor there. On the PGA Tour, he played 123 events, earning just shy of $10 million, about $75,000 per event. On the LIV Tour, he's played in 44 events, and he's earned just over $60 million, and that's about $1.4 million per event. Brooks Koepka, another big name that went over to the LIV Tour. He played in 178 events on the tour, and he was very successful when he was on the tour, earning $43 million, and that equates to $242,000 per event. Since switching to the LIV Tour, he's played in about a quarter of the PGA Tour events he's played in, earning himself $43 million as well, equaling about $1.1 million per event. Charles Schwartzel, he was a Masters champion as well as an Open champion, I believe. Don't quote me on that. PGA Tour, he played in 250 events, and on the LIV Tour, he's only played in 43 events thus far. On the PGA Tour, he earned $21 million in those events. That equates to $84,000 per event. On the LIV Golf Tour, 43 events, like I said, just over $23 million, equaling $542,000 per event. So the last notable, or a couple more notable names on here, we'll start with Pat Perez, who had an okay career on the PGA Tour, earns more than he's done on the LIV Tour so far. He's kind of went, I don't want to say downhill, but he's certainly been on a little bit of decline with his ability of golf kind of going forward. Hopefully he doesn't hear this because he's a little bit of a hothead and he'll probably come after me. But he earned in 515 events. He's been playing for a while. $29 million. That's about $56,000 per event. However, on the LIV Tour, it's been a little bit more prosperous per event. In 34 events, which is a lot less than 515, he's earned just over $17 million and just over $513,000 per event. Cam Smith, one of the ones a lot of people didn't think he would make that move given how well he was playing on the PGA Tour and in majors. He played in 175 events on tour. He made just shy of $29 million, having it be about $164,000 per event. On the LIV Tour, he's played in 40 events. That's about a quarter of the events he played on the PGA Tour, and he's earned just shy of $46 million, equating to about $1.2 million per event. So I think Cam Smith has done pretty well since he's made the move. And then you've got a few more guys. You've got Carlos Ortiz, Sergio Garcia, Henrik Stenson, Louis Oosthuizen, who was an Open champion. I know that for certain. On the PGA Tour, Louis Oosthuizen played in 219 events. On the LIV Tour, just 43. Earning about the same on both tours, but per event on the PGA Tour, Louis Oosthuizen just under $129,000. On the LIV Tour, just under $600,000 per event. So there's certainly a common theme here. The per event money that these guys are making is significantly more than the per event on the PGA Tour, and that's obviously the smaller fields, the team aspect of the tour, and of course the much bigger purses. But we'll see how long the LIV continues. We'll see if there's ever a merger there on the PGA Tour. Carlos Alcaraz looks to be in control of his quarterfinal match against the Brit Norrie as he is leading 6-2. He won the first set 6-2, and he's leading the second set 2-1 right now. I know Wimbledon, and a lot of people have been there to the Wimbledon. That's kind of a bucket list sporting event that a lot of people would like to go to. Look at that. It doesn't even have lines on that one. That's some wild stuff. Other guys that have made some better money on the LIV Tour than they did in their entire career on the PGA Tour. Matt Wolff, Paul Casey, Abraham Answer, Lee Westwood. I think Lee Westwood made a great decision to go to the LIV Tour simply because he was starting to be in the twilight of his golfing career. And for those who know a little bit about the Senior Tour, the Champions Tour they call it now, those purses are very, very small, usually about $250,000, $300,000 for the entire payout of the field. But those Senior Tour events, if you've never had a chance to been to one, they're a lot of fun because those guys are just out there playing golf to have fun, traveling around the country. And, you know, a lot of these guys have people in different parts of the country that they go see every time they play in these events. Luckily, I had an opportunity back in probably 5, 6, 7 years ago to play in a Pro-Am over there in Biloxi with the Champions Tour.
Oh, nice.
And got to play with a couple guys. We played it twice. A lot of fun.
I went to the Ryder Cup when it was in Louisville.
Oh, yeah, at Valhalla.
It was the one that, do you remember when, what's his name? The guy from Santa Rosa County, not Bubba Watson, the other guy that's from there. They lived, went the same high school together. And, he pretended like he was riding a horse.
Oh,
yeah, remember that?
Yeah, I'm trying to grab the name.
I'll think of his name. Yeah,
that's awesome. Ryder Cup is a bucket
Boo
list.
Weasley is who it is.
Oh yeah. He's the best. Just down to earth, chill. I didn't know he was from around this neck of the woods.
Yeah, he's from Milton.
Oh, okay. I thought he was from Georgia for some reason.
No, him and Bubba Watson both are from there.
I definitely know Bubba, but I had no idea Boo was. I think Jay knows Boo Weakley pretty well, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
But Ryder Cup coming up this fall at Bethpage Black, which will be epic because those New York sports fans, especially when it's USA versus somebody else, are relentless. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. That's coming up this September, kind of after the PGA Tour season ends, but that'll be something to look forward to and have a lot of fun. We'll be back here in just a minute. Top of the hour up now. We'll drive into our afternoon delight debrief right here on the Inside Drive. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdog. Hello. The only live afternoon show in Panama City where you can win fantastic prizes from amazing local businesses every day.
That's right.
4 to 6 weekdays. The Afternoon Underdogs.
It's mayhem.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Tuesday's weather forecast. Partly sunny this afternoon and evening with a high near 87 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 80. The same tomorrow, around 87 with some sun and a likelihood of thunderstorms. Mostly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms Thursday and very warm around 86. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lumen, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
College football is almost here, and you can watch it all. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive.
Skyrockets in flight.
And now, the Afternoon Delight Debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon Delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
In flight. Afternoon Delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3, Panama City Beach, all of the beautiful Bay County and surrounding areas. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. Of course, we got the great Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9. We got the Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1. The afternoon underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. A little bit later on tonight, you got the Atlanta Braves coverage against is it the Sacramento A's, or are they still calling them the Oakland A's? I know they're playing in Sacramento. I don't think they've officially changed their name, but don't quote me on that. That's the T-shirt that I need to get.
Oh, if I turn my mic on, that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
I think it's still the Oakland.
It's still the A's, but I don't.
I think it's just the A's. Maybe they don't put a city in front of it at this point.
I don't think they are. Everything on here that I'm seeing says athletics.
Gotcha.
There's nothing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just go with the A's then. But we got a 3-game series starting tonight, a little bit later on in the evening. So if you're wanting to listen to the coverage on your radio, if you're driving around a little bit later on, coming home from dinner, whatever it may be, just turn the dial over to ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starts 7:50. First pitch at 9:05. We run that back again tomorrow night. And then the final game of the 3-game series is on the 10th. That's Thursday. Coverage starts at 6:50, followed by first pitch at 8:05. We appreciate Best Way Portable Buildings, reliable hydraulic solutions. Bless Payson Down to take a leak. That's probably the best tagline or whatever you call that from a business that I've ever heard. It's really, really good, and the creative from those folks is fantastic. And then, of course, Mid-South Lumber and Brock Pest Control. We've got the Afternoon Delight debrief coming up, but if you're looking for some savings on your streaming services, there's only one place to go, and that's ESPNPC.com. Look at the top of the page. You'll see the Scorpion TV logo. Click on that logo. Follow the prompts to get signed up using code ESPNNW. You're going to get a cheap price of $45.08 per month with 5,000 live streaming channels, ESPN, ESPN Plus, NFL Network, Red Zone, and even the pay-per-view events. Just the pay-per-view events alone, you're saving a ton of money right there, as most of those are anywhere from $70 to over $100 per event. We've also got 400 local channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country: Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Also all the premium movie channels and over 10,000 movies on demand. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, head over to ESPNPC.com. And like I said, just click on that Scorpion TV logo.
And just as a reminder, college football is right around the corner.
Yes, what do we say? 45? 40, I believe, 45 and counting. 45 days, 11 hours, 56 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. Literally right around the corner. We'll be inside a month here quite shortly. 15 days away from being inside a month.
And the reason I say that is I mean, if you're contemplating signing up for Scorpion TV, there is a little bit of for me anyway, a learning curve to figure out how to navigate and all that. And that's it's not hard, but there's a little bit of a learning curve. So might be best to sign up now, get comfortable using it, see what all it offers, and then that way you're ready for college football. Don't be a Coach Hale.
Yeah, don't do it the day before college football starts. And, you got to get your email address. You got to follow the prompts, sign up. But, hey, just get your, if you got kids that are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, just have them. They'll get it signed up for you.
And there's plenty of stuff for the kids, too. And it's not just about sports.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's
all the Mickey Mouse.
Everything. Everything is right there on Scorpion TV. All right, I'm going to dive through some Afternoon Delight debriefs today. We're going to start with this one. This is certainly a wild one, and some adults making some bad decisions. Title of this article is from CBSNews.com. The Chicago affiliate: 2 Illinois youth baseball coaches fired after apparently streaking in front of kids at a Cooperstown tournament in New York. Just the headline alone is not good. But anyway, 2 Illinois youth baseball coaches were fired after apparently caught on video streaking on a baseball diamond in front of players at the Cooperstown tournament in New York. The coaches' firing is just the beginning. The Lake Bluff Youth Baseball Association said they're working with law enforcement authorities, mostly because the coaches apparently stripped down in the presence of children. Children can be heard laughing on the video that shows the 2 men nude, one sprawling over home plate at a New York baseball field. The video circulating online shows the men on the diamond bearing it all in the presence of children. The boys usually play in the Lake Bluff field in Chicago's northern suburbs. They are members of the Lake Bluff Youth Baseball Association, a respected league which has been around for 70 years. That Youth Bluff Baseball Association. It's tough. It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
Last weekend at the Cooperstown All-Star Village in Oneida, New York. I used to not say that easily. The coaches, for reasons unknown and caught on video, decided to go full Monty on the field, forcing the team to be disqualified and the local sheriff's department in New York to be called in. The Otsego County Sheriff's Office said deputies responded to Cooperstown's All-Star Village after security asked the two men to leave, but they refused. By the time deputies arrived, the men had left, and any potential witnesses also left the park. After later obtaining video of the incident, deputies tried to interview anyone involved, but by then the team had returned home to Illinois. The Lake Bluff Youth Baseball Association board said in a statement, it's deeply distressed to learn about the recent situation involving the Lake Bluff 12U Blue Cooperstown team. We are treating this matter with the utmost seriousness and have contacted relevant authorities. We will continue to support those authorities in their investigation of this matter. We also have taken immediate and decisive action by terminating the assistant coaches involved, the association added. The sheriff's office said the two coaches will not face criminal charges. The case was reviewed by the Otsego County District's office, which advised the prosecution was declined due to the level of criminality involved and the fact that all parties reside out of the state. The sheriff's office said in a statement, clearly, this is no laughing matter for the league. Many parents associated with the Lake Bluff youth football or youth baseball did not want to talk publicly. It's not clear that if the two assistant coaches are parents or not, but the board said it works hard to protect the well-being of players and families and will continue to do so to the best of its ability. It's unknown if the league allowed the assistant coaches in question to bring the players back home to Lake Bluff or other accommodations were made. CBS News Chicago is not naming the coaches who have not been charged with a crime. I'm shocked that they weren't charged with a crime, given they do have stuff in front of kids. Usually that's a serious manner. When I originally heard about this story, I heard alcohol was involved as well. Like the two assistant coaches got some beer and kind of got loaded up a little bit before they did that, which obviously would make more sense. Does not excuse any of the behavior in any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, wild story out of Cooperstown, New York.
No matter what,
sure.
You're still responsible for your actions.
Absolutely, and that'll be a lesson for a lot of future coaches that there's so many questions to that story, like why did you even approach something like that? But we'll move on to our next story. Let me find out what that next story is. This is just an interesting one. I learned this morning. The standard U.S. ammo belt was 27 feet long, 9 yards. This is where the expression, the whole 9 yards, comes from. While not directly related to the M1923 belt, the phrase, the whole 9 yards, is often associated with the ammunition belts, specifically the 27-foot-long 50-caliber belts used in World War II aircraft, according to online sources. The length was used in the inboard guns of the P-51 Mustang and P-47 Thunderbolt. Then somebody commented, the expression comes from tailoring, but nice yarn. So maybe it's not. But it makes sense. If you're getting the whole 9 yards, you're getting the entire belt of ammunition there. If anybody has some clarity on that, feel free to give us a call, 850-215-6290. Here's another interesting one. At just 23, Alyssa Carson is lighting the way for the future of space exploration. As one of the most prominent young voices advocating for interplanetary travel, she has devoted nearly her entire life to preparing for humanity's next big adventure, a mission to Mars. Though not yet officially part of the Mars crew, her achievement serves a roadmap for aspiring astronauts earning her pilot's license by 18. Excuse me, I gotta take a drink of water.
That's okay, you go right ahead.
A lot of chatting, a lot of talking.
That's right.
Let's see. Though not officially a part of the Mars crew, her achievement serves as a roadmap for aspiring astronauts earning her pilot's license by 18, completing advanced space training programs worldwide, and championing STEM education on a global scale. Alyssa has authored books, delivered TEDx talks, and inspires countless young minds to dream beyond our planet. While the journey to Mars is still unfolding, her dedication embodies the unstoppable spirit of a generation eager to reach the red planet. Who knows if we'll ever be able to settle Mars and be out there, but it sounds like she is leading the forefront of that one.
Listen, I don't even like to go out of the country, much less go to Mars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something bad happens. It's certainly not good. Not good. No doubt. No doubt. This one more along the lines of the afternoon delight debrief for sure. It doesn't go into a lot of detail. It's just here's the title of it: Texas man admits to kidnapping 79 people to anally probe them while disguised as an alien.
Oh, God.
So maybe some of those alien encounters are just this guy who has now been arrested by the FBI as confessed to several kidnapping and then obviously doing that as well. So there should at least be 79 people in the state of Texas that have had an alien encounter, quote unquote.
Good God.
He kind of looks like an alien even without the costume on. So maybe he is indeed an alien. Who knows?
I'm assuming he probably, more than likely, will spend the remainder of his life behind bars.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right, let's see what's on the old odd news. There's always some good ones in here. Ooh, for the cheese lovers out there, the world's most expensive cheese sells for $42,232. I need to learn a little bit.
I used to remember what cheese that was just so expensive.
Is it the Cabreras cheese, aged in a cave for 10 months, received top marks in a competition in Spain and earned a Guinness World Record when it was auctioned for $42,232. The cheese, created by Angel Diaz Herrero Cheese Factory, was sold by the regulatory council DOP Cabreras in Asturias, Spain, and purchased by restaurant El Lagar de Collito. Apparently, they're probably going to sell it at the restaurant. The Guinness World Records declared that the dairy delicacy to be the most expensive cheese sold at auction. The cheese hit the auction block after the regulatory council DOP Cabreras named it Mejor Queso del Certamen, or best cheese of the competition. The pricey cheese, weighing in at 5 pounds, was made with cow's milk and aged for 10 months in the Los Mazos cave, which is nearly 5,000 feet above sea level.
So is that the catch to it? Above sea level?
I guess.
Because I was thinking of maybe digging like a deep cave in a hole or something.
Yeah.
Putting it in there for 10 months, and who knows? Maybe we could turn some money. Find a farmer around here that's got a cow that he'd,
It's not like it's any crazy animal's milk. It's
that's right.
Just a cow's milk. So
wow.
But yeah, I bet that restaurant's going to sell that with some expensive charcuterie.
Yep.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what other fun ones we got on the old odd news. This is a weird one, but we'll go with it. Spanish woman earns world record for collection of 15,485 egg cups. Let's find out what an egg cup is. July 7th, the Spanish woman has been collecting egg cups for over 50 years, earned a Guinness World Record when her collection was tallied at 15,485 items. Maria Jose Fuster recruited 2 witnesses to help her tally her collection at a community center in her hometown of Campo, Spain. Fuster's collection included multiple patterns, colors, designs, even novelty cups bearing the images of characters including Superman, Betty Boop, and Garfield. Fuster maintains 2 blogs related to her hobby, one to catalog each piece and one to list the names of the people who have donated egg cups to her collection. Some of her most prized egg cups, about 1,143 of them, are currently on display at a local museum. Egg cups. Never thought that was a collectible thing. The only time I have egg cups is before Easter when we're dyeing eggs.
Yeah, that's it.
15,000 of them. More than 15,000. I guess you can collect anything, and if it gets big enough, it's a world record. So I guess hoarding now is can be a world record.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Ooh, this is reminds me of, what was his name? It's not Denzel Washington. The Snakes on a Plane guy. He was also in Deep Blue Sea. But anyway, title of this article, Australian flight delayed by snake on a plane. A flight from Australia's Melbourne airport was delayed for more than an hour due to a stowaway in the cargo hold. A snake. Virgin Australia flight VA337 was delayed just prior to departing for Brisbane when an airline personnel spotted the small snake in the cargo hold. Mark Pelly, a.k.a. the Snake Hunter, on social media, was summoned to the airport to capture what turned out to be a harmless green tree snake, which is very rare in Australia as they have the most venomous snakes, poisonous spiders, all those different things across.
I thought it was the black mamba.
Yeah, but this was just a green tree snake, so kind of shocking that it wasn't a venomous snake, considering how many venomous snakes they have over there in the country of Australia.
I keep up with this thing on Facebook. It's like called snake identification, and I've really learned a lot about by looking at pictures what snakes they are.
Yep.
And people just freak out so much, but just because of the simple fact that it's a snake.
It's a snake, yeah.
Yeah, and best thing to do is just hit them with a water hose, and they'll go along their way, and they're serving a purpose for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. The whole nine. Appreciate my fact checkers for me. But anyway, Pelly said he has removed snakes from the airport before, but this incident marked his first instance of a snake on a plane. The snake catcher said he suspects the snake had stowed away in a traveler's luggage. Someone has inadvertently packed a snake in their luggage and somehow it escaped during transport, he told 7 News Sunrise. Then when the staff went to pack the new luggage into the plane, there was a snake. The snake was safely captured and taken to a veterinarian for examination. The flight departed to Brisbane about an hour behind schedule. The real-life snakes on a plane. Who was the actor? It's driving me crazy now.
Oh, wasn't Samuel Jackson?
Yes, Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay,
because he was also in Deep Blue Sea as well.
Right,
and he's always something bad happens to him after he makes a really big monologue. But yes, thank you for that. I was a little bit confused there. But yes, let me see. It's doubtful that the whole 9 yards originated from World War II ammunition belts, since the expression first appeared in a short story in 1855, referring to a seamstress making one shirt using 9 yards of broadcloth when she should have made 3 shirts using the same 9 yards. So there you go. Can't believe everything you read on the internet.
That's right.
But I think we already knew. Can't believe that.
Was that one of your fact checkers?
Yes,
okay.
yes. And he also provides me with great information all the time. So I appreciate him keeping me in check. Firefighters find alligator wandering in traffic in South Carolina. I feel like the law enforcement, whatever first responders, they have to do a lot more than their normal job description. Fire crews in South Carolina were returning from a call when they came across a new situation, an alligator in traffic. Horry County, that's over there on the coast because Coastal Carolina is in Horry County. Horry County Fire Rescue said the crew was returning from a medical call when they found a small gator wandering through Old Reeves Ferry Road. The firefighters redirected traffic away from the reptile while waiting for South Carolina Department of Natural Resources personnel to arrive in the area. The alligator was safely relocated to a more suitable area. I like to hear when they're relocated.
Now, is that, was any of that area devastated by the hurricane?
I don't know, because it kind of went through Charleston and then went kind of up the coast. But I don't know.
They're still struggling.
Yeah. Charleston's it's such a low, I've been there many a time, and just such a low city. Anytime you get a couple inches of rain, the whole city floods, the market floods, all that good stuff.
Yeah, those people are still sleeping in tents and all that. Much worse than what we had here, which was really bad.
Yes.
With Hurricane Michael.
All right, one more, and then we'll call it a segment. So this one's titled, Bear Gets Trapped in Colorado Car, Redecorates Interior. This is, again, Colorado. A bear managed to close itself into a parked car in Colorado and demolish the interior of a vehicle before being freed by a sheriff's deputy. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office shared body camera footage recorded by a deputy summoned to the location of the foothills. This is what I was talking about. The cops have to go out there and deal with the bear.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bear in there, the deputy can be heard saying after peering through a window. The deputy used a rope to open the car's door from a safe distance, freeing the bear. The animal managed to completely destroy the interior of a vehicle before being set free. Quote, caution, local bears may redecorate your ride, the department said on Facebook. Bears are good at breaking into vehicles, but not so good at getting out. This is a good reminder to keep your vehicles locked, even when at home. Also, bears can smell any snacks you leave in your car, so don't tempt them to turn your car into a bear buffet.
Yeah.
So I think that's fairly common,
I don't even know if locking the car is really that much of, especially if you leave food in there.
Yeah.
They smell it. They're going to break the window. They're going in.
The food is certainly where you want to stay from. If you go up to the Gatlinburg area and all that, all those trash cans, they have the big bear locks and all that stuff. But like you said, if they want to get in, they're probably going to find a way to get in.
Yeah.
That was your Afternoon Delight debrief segment for this Tuesday afternoon. We got to take a quick break. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN ESPN Northwest Florida.
Have you ever wanted to reach out and smack someone?
Sit your ass down and shut up!
Call or text the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida with your rants, hot takes, picks, and takedowns.
This is unacceptable at the University of Alabama!
This should go 7 games. You've got to have a bad game at some point.
The Red 70s studio line, 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida. Get in the game.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, some sun and an 87 with a gentle breeze out of the west-southwest at 11 miles per hour. For tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low near 80. Tomorrow, variety of some sun and a likelihood of thunderstorms and a high around 87. For Thursday, likely thunderstorms and a high of 86. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Discover the new Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive the new 2025 Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The 2025 Kia SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in the luxury of a 2025 Kia K5 sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Performance, power, and design built for you. Spark inspiration in the all-electric 2025 EV9. It's a modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. From the beach to the bay to the backyard, it's the Inside Drive.
I've got sand in my underpants.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, give us a call or text 850-215-6290. Give me a call. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about in the sporting world. We're going to talk about starting QBs in the NFL this upcoming season, as there's a lot of new faces out there, including Randy's Louisville quarterback, Tyler Shuck. Currently, Carlos Alcaraz has won the first 2 sets. If he wins this 3rd set, he will be advancing to another semifinal in Wimbledon. He's currently won the first set 6-3, second set 6-3 as well. And then right now he is in that 3rd set, trying to win that set to win the best out of 5 match and again move on to the semifinals. He's currently up 1-0 against Norrie from Great Britain. He won the first set 6-2, I apologize. Second set 6-3, currently up 1-0 in this quarterfinal match. All right, starting quarterbacks for the 2025-26 season. A lot of familiar names, but a lot of names that we haven't really ever seen play in the NFL, and then a lot of teams that still have to make decisions on who is going to be the starting quarterback. We'll start with the AFC. That is the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is in alphabetical order. Obviously, the Baltimore Ravens continuing their journey with NFL MVP from 2 years ago, Lamar Jackson, followed by the Buffalo Bills and the last year's MVP, Josh Allen. Cincinnati Bengals, still with Joe Burrow, of course. Cleveland Browns got to figure out who's going to be their starting quarterback, as they've got several in there right now. As you know, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Sanders, Deshaun Watson is listed on there, but I don't think he is really in the mix to be a starter this year or going forward. So likely, we'll see how Shador does in the preseason coming up. So a lot of things. Seems like there's always a lot of things to be figured out up there in Cleveland.
Well, there was some chatter a couple of days ago about Deion and him staying at Colorado since now the kids are gone.
Yep.
And the fact that he has just lost like I don't know, 25 pounds or something like that. Is there something else going on with Deion? He lost the digit on his foot. And, Coach Hale brought it up yesterday morning. He's like, well, they've been quiet about it. Well, I said, well, there's a reason they've been quiet about it. And he said, what's that? I said, because none of your business.
None your business.
So I think he's doing it because of because, it's hard to walk when you lost a digit.
No doubt.
So, you take some weight off, makes it a little easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. But, they got to figure it out up there in Cleveland. They've been figuring it out for as long as I can remember. And, maybe Shedeur is the future there for the Cleveland Browns. Denver Broncos go into their second season with Bo Nix being their starting quarterback. Bo Nix surprised a lot of people last year with a pretty decent season, and I believe they ended up making it to the playoffs as well. So be on the lookout for Bo Nix. They've got Ashton Genty. No, Ashton Genty's on the Raiders, I believe. Never mind. They got a good running back in the draft this year as well. Houston Texans enter their third season with quarterback C.J. Stroud. Obviously came onto the scene like a bat out of you-know-what, and then a lot of people said, a little bit of a decline in the second year, but, it's kind of what happens sometimes. He battled, a little bit of injuries as well. Indianapolis Colts, I don't know why they have two quarterbacks listed here, because I don't think they're going to go away from Anthony Richardson, but obviously Anthony Richardson, his third year in the league as well, been dealing with a lot of injuries in his first 2 years, but shown signs of greatness when he is out there healthy. And, of course, they signed Daniel Jones in the offseason to have a quote-unquote capable backup should Anthony Richardson get hurt. As we talked about yesterday on overpaid players, of his on three, I think had Trevor Lawrence as the highest overpaid quarterback in the NFL. He leads the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, I think he came to the league in 2021, so this will be his fifth year in the league, because 2 out of his first 4 years they did make the playoffs. Of course, Patrick Mahomes still leading the Kansas City Chiefs. Hard to believe Mahomes is in his 9th year in the NFL. Time certainly flies, there is no doubt. And a lot of people saying the Chiefs may not continue their greatness this year, but they're still the Chiefs. They're still Andy Reid. They're still Patrick Mahomes. So you can't count them out until they're actually out. Las Vegas Raiders had their carousel of quarterbacks last year, but they got their new starter for this year. So a new team with a new quarterback that is former Seattle Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, who prior to the Seahawks for a couple of years was kind of a journeyman there in the NFL out of West Virginia. Justin Herbert still leading the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously Tua Tagovailoa also still leading the Miami Dolphins. And these next couple teams all have new quarterbacks. New England Patriots, although they drafted him last year, he will officially be the starter for this season, and that is former UNC product Drake May to lead the New England Patriots. A lot of people think the Patriots are going to be a lot better this year than they have been in the past. They've been working these last couple of years, got some great rookies, some great draft picks, made some good offseason acquisitions as well. Another quarterback leading a new team, that is the New York Jets, and Justin Fields leading the New York Jets. And be interesting to see if he maintains his starter job, as I believe there's another veteran with the Jets as well. Let me look that up real quick because I want to give you the appropriate information.
Aaron Rodgers didn't end up with the Jets, did he?
No, he was with the Jets for the last 2 years.
Did he land anywhere?
Yes. I'm about to get to that one.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to get ahead of you.
No, you're okay. And that was some famous stuff there. I just want to see who the other Jets quarterbacks are. Tyrod Taylor is who I was thinking of. Of course, they've got Brady Cook in that room as well. But we'll see if the Jets can actually have a decent season with Justin Fields at the helm. The Aaron Rodgers project didn't last too long. Obviously, that first season with the Achilles tear made a big difference, and then I think that kind of lingered over. He started playing a little bit better towards the back half of the season, but he is now leading the black and gold and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as that was kind of where everybody thought he was going to land. It kind of dragged out, and eventually it became official. So the Pittsburgh Steelers era with Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and a lot of other new signees starts here in a little bit when training camp will get underway. And, of course, the last team in the AFC, a brand new quarterback. They've been searching for a new quarterback that actually can do some good things. Feels like forever at this point, pretty much since the early or late 2000s, I should say, and that's the Tennessee Titans, who took Cam Ward #1 overall. Can Cam Ward be the guy to bring the Titans back to the playoffs, or even just to a decent 500 undefeated or winning record. I think the expectations need to be somewhere around there. You don't want to put too much on the kid in his first year because we've seen how that works sometimes. But we'll see how Cam does. Obviously, he was fantastic at Miami, but NFL's a little bit different ballgame, a little faster, a little bigger, a little stronger, all those different things.
I remember a couple of years ago, a friend of mine played college football, and I ran into him when he got picked up by the Saints. I said, how is it in the NFL? He said, because you could tell he had gotten bigger and stronger. And he goes, well, you get to college, he said, the players are much, bigger than they are in high school. He said, but the thing about it is when you get to the pros, it's like a level playing field. Yeah. Everybody's big and strong and good.
Yes, and fast. And they can run from sideline to sideline better than anybody else out there. Moving over to the NFC, just a quick update on the Wimbledon. Alcaraz is now up 2-1, and we do have a USA woman will be in the semifinals as Anisimova beat that P last name I was talking about earlier on the show that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. 6-1 and then 7-6 in the tiebreaker. So we do have a United States of America lady in the semifinals of Wimbledon.
Have you been to a tennis game on a bigger scale like that?
There was one in Hilton. There was a tournament they always did in Hilton Head.
Yeah.
I'd been to that once, but I've never been to anything on this kind of scale.
Everybody that I've seen, like in the audience, the crowd, when they throw a camera on them, you notice they're squinting because, it's like there was an example right there.
Yeah.
The sun is shining, and I don't even know how you even see.
That's true. It's like when you're buying tickets for a football game. You got to be aware of how the stadium is planted there, east, west, north, and south, because we made the mistake last year when we went to an Auburn game. We were pretty much in the sun the entire game.
Well,
Not that we couldn't see, but it was just way hotter than being
I
in
did the
shade.
same thing a couple of years ago at a Braves game.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring sunglasses, and I didn't bring a hat. So I now own a really nice Braves cap.
Yep.
It was the most expensive that I've ever purchased. But I had to have it.
Yeah, yeah. That's we went to the Niners Bucks game last year, and we were in the sun most of the game, but it was like behind us in the sun, and like you could kind of see the shadow creeping and creeping and creeping. I think it was like 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, it finally got to us, and it dropped the temperature like 15 degrees. So certainly something. And you're like, oh, why are the left field or the third baseline seats so much cheaper than the first baseline seats? Well, it's a sun situation, or vice versa. I can't remember how Truist Field is situated. But moving over to the NFL starting quarterbacks for the NFC. A little bit interesting lot over here. Some familiar names, some new names, and we'll see how it all shakes out. Starting with the Atlanta Falcons, obviously they moved away from Kirk Cousins last year, and Michael Penix started the last several games of the season, but he is officially now the starter for the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., the lefty from Washington. Kirk Cousins did a fantastic job, making a lot of money and never really getting too far or into the promised land. Arizona Cardinals still sticking with Kyler Murray. Carolina Panthers hoping for a big season out of Bryce Young. Kind of came onto the scene a little bit last year, about halfway through the season. Obviously still needs a line to protect him and all those wonderful things. But in a division in the NFC South that is definitely gettable, especially with the quarterback situation in New Orleans. I think Tampa Bay is definitely the front runner for that division from the odds standpoint, and obviously just with the talent they have on the field and the momentum that they've been had the last couple years. Chicago Bears roll with their second year with the former Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams. They've had a lot of off-season acquisitions to hopefully help protect him a little bit more, as he was the most sacked quarterback in the entire league last year. Maybe he shouldn't have said before the season started when he got drafted to text their punter and said, "You're not going to be punting a whole lot," and it ended up being the opposite of that. So another one of the things, you just never want to jinx yourself. Obviously, Dallas Cowboys still rolling with Dak Prescott. We'll find out how he's doing after this injury last year in the opening game of the NFL season, which is 57 days away. That's Thursday Night Football, Eagles-Cowboys, to kick off our 2025-26 season. Detroit Lions still trying to keep everything going and hot with Jared Goff leading that team. Same thing with the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, kind of I don't want to say up and down, but has certainly shown signs of greatness and signs of struggles a little bit there in his tenure so far with the Green Bay Packers. The man that that just keeps on keeping on. Matt Stafford looked really good last year, and they're hoping for another big year out of him, as the Rams have certainly done a great job in the draft the last few years. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, all these guys that they've brought in that have made big impacts there for the Rams, my division foe for my San Francisco 49ers. Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold's officially moved on. That means it's the J.J. McCarthy era.
Yep.
Drafted last year out of Michigan, coming off that national championship. Can J.J. McCarthy pick up where Sam Darnold left off? I don't want to say Sam Darnold came out of nowhere, because he has shown signs of greatness throughout his tenure, bouncing around between multiple teams. But obviously, Minnesota Vikings have great weapons there for J.J. to get started with. All things saying out of the camps, he's been doing great. So we'll find out come the start of the season if J.J. McCarthy era is here to stay for the NFC North Minnesota Vikings. As we mentioned yesterday and a little bit earlier today, the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr retired earlier this offseason, and their other quarterback room has both had opportunities with Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, but never really showed that they could be serviceable NFL quarterbacks. Have moved on to Tyler Shuck from the Louisville Cardinals, who maybe he's the guy the Saints have been looking for.
Yeah,
and obviously played really well for the Cardinals. And
he said he grew a lot.
Yeah,
you know, and first time in his college career that he was able to play that pro style, quarterback, as opposed to, the dual threat.
Yep.
And that's what got him injured.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. I hope he does well with the Saints.
I think he will. I mean, they got some weapons. I think Kamara is healthy if he's still on the Saints. I believe he is. Kind of crazy that you had Justin Fields and Russell Wilson on the Steelers last year. Justin Fields goes to the Jets. Russell Wilson goes to the Giants.
Yeah.
The Russell Wilson era is officially in. But how short will that leash be if he's not playing that well with Jackson Dart, their first-round pick in this year's draft? I guess we'll find out if Russell Wilson, because that's kind of what happened to Justin Fields last year. Justin Fields playing great, winning football games, and they still decided to go with Russell Wilson. Still interesting move there, but, Justin Fields is now with the Jets. Russell Wilson now with the Giants.
Exactly.
So still sharing the same locker room, still sharing the same stadiums, unless they play each other this season. Of course, one team will be in the visiting locker room. And then some teams still using their same guys. Jalen Hurts, NFL champion, NFL Super Bowl MVP as well, coming off that fantastic season last year. Obviously, their defense still looking pretty darn good. So Philadelphia Eagles, they're tied with another team. I forget what it was to win the Super Bowl this year, odds-wise. And then, of course, my San Francisco 49ers, this will be the fourth full season with third. 2022, he came in. 23 was his first season. Yeah, this will be his third full season, his fourth season with the San Francisco 49ers. And a lot of people, I think, are sleeping on the 49ers. They did great in the draft. They got a lot of good players on defense. They brought Robert Salah back, who had so much success for him when he was there several years ago. So I'm actually pretty encouraged by this season, even without Brandon Ayuk to maybe not start the season, hopefully come in week 2, week 3, something like that. They've got some good draft picks. The kid out of Ole Miss is doing really well in camp, so I'm excited about the season. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit, which sometimes is a good thing. The Sam Darnold era in Seattle has officially begun this season coming up, as he's now going to be leading the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC West, and we'll see how Sam does coming off that great season, obviously, with Minnesota. But the weapons for Minnesota, in my opinion, I think were a little bit better than the weapons that are currently on the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, you still got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You still got Tyler Lockett, who's been there forever, but DK Metcalf is moved on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baker Mayfield has found his long-term home there down in Tampa Bay after going to the team in the draft that seems to just spit quarterbacks away from that organization when he was drafted by the Browns. He's played really well down in Tampa Bay, but with Liam Cohen now with Jacksonville, are we going to see any drop-off with his confidence and production? I guess only time will tell in that division. That is I think theirs to lose this year.
Bucs folks are feeling good about their season coming.
Well, and Bucky Irvin, the rookie that they got last year, he was absolutely fantastic. So their running game is, I think, one of the best in the league with Irvin, Rashad White, and those guys. And then, of course, the man that came onto the scene last year, the offensive rookie of the year, that is Jaden Daniels for the Washington Commanders, leading them to the championship game where they fell just a little bit short to those Detroit Lions. But I think Commanders fans are very happy with where their team is now. As for a long time there, it was a little bit of a struggle, all the name changes, but the ownership change, all that seems to have sparked this team in the right direction. And, maybe not a bad pick for the division winner.
That's right.
On the Washington Commanders and the Jaden Daniels-led team. So those are all your starting quarterbacks for the NFL season coming up here in, 57 days. Now's the time to get some of those futures in. We'll talk about some of those futures when we get back for this final segment. You've been hanging out with us on the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Great 4th of July mattress savings going on now at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center today and you can save up to $600 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Stearns & Foster, made in the USA.
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long. PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
Great 4th of July mattress savings going on now at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center today and you can save up to $600 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Stearns & Foster, made in the USA.
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. Now back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
It's alive! Look alive!
We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Carlos Alcaraz, one game win away from advancing to the semifinals of the Wimbledon tournament, as he is now up 5-2 in the third set after winning the first and second set. He's up 30-love in this game as we speak. So Nori from Great Britain is trying to break serve and continue this match on, but looks like Alcaraz is certainly in control of this one, and we'll keep you updated throughout the week on all the Wimbledon action for all you tennis fans out there. So real quick, we're talking about all those starting quarterbacks, all that good stuff. We're going to go through some of the futures on the awards for the NFL next year, as in my humble opinion in the betting world, some of these futures can give you some great odds. For example, the most valuable player, the MVP of the next season, which is typically a quarterback award, which is very much like how the Heisman is, with usually it goes to quarterbacks in this day and age. Lamar Jackson is the front runner, no surprise there, at 5-1. I think that's some pretty good value for a guy that's won 2 MVPs in his career thus far. Joe Burrow, who has not won an NFL MVP yet, is plus 575, and that is tied with last year's NFL MVP Josh Allen, who is also 575. Then it moves up to plus 650. That is none other than multiple NFL MVP winner, multiple NFL Super Bowl MVP winner. That's Patrick Mahomes. He's at plus 60. Jaden Daniels, 8-1 to win the NFL MVP. That's probably one of the, I don't know this for fact, but most likely being your second year in the NFL and being plus 800, 8-1 to start the season. Could be one of the lowest odds to win the NFL MVP in your second year as an NFL player, which is pretty darn impressive and shows how good that guy really is. Next is last year's Super Bowl MVP winner, and that's Jalen Hurts. He's plus 1750, so a little more than 17-1 to win that. Justin Herbert, 20-1 to win the NFL MVP. CJ Stroud, plus 2250, followed by Jordan Love at 25-1, tied with Brock Purdy at 25-1. Caleb Williams in his second year, probably right where he needs to be, 30-1 to win the NFL MVP, tied with Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield, also at 30-1 to win the NFL MVP. Then you got Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Matt Stafford, all at 40-1, including Dak Prescott, who is also at 40-1. That Matt Stafford at 40-1 may not be a bad one to lay $10 on or something like that and let it fester all season long. And then, if he has a fantastic year, you've also got Kyler Murray and then Saquon Barkley. I try to stay away from the running backs because it just doesn't seem like the running backs are really ever in the running for an MVP unless it's like really ridiculous season that they're having, like a 2,000, 1,000 kind of season. But on the offensive player of the year, that's where you start to see your running backs be near the top. And that is Saquon Barkley at 6-1 odds, Jamar Chase 9-1 odds, Jahmyr Gibbs 11-1, Derrick Henry 14-1, Justin Jefferson 15-1, Bijan Robinson 16-1. Then you got Nico Collins and Puka Nacua also at 16-1, CeeDee Lamb 20-1. One I may take one on is I think everybody's overlooking Christian McCaffrey this year. I know he has certainly been hurt quite a bit. Last year was a terrible year. I think he only played in 4 total games, nursing those double Achilles tendonitis. But following along his offseason, he seems to be as healthy as he's been, and he's put on a lot of muscle to kind of protect, all his body. He is 20-1 to win the Offensive Player of the Year, which he did just a short 2 years ago. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 25-1, Malik Neighbors 30-1, Tyreek Hill 30-1, and then it goes down all the way to pretty high odds at 100-1 in some of these guys that may worth a shot to take, like a Breece Hall at 100-1 if he has a huge year again like he kind of did his rookie year before tearing his ACL. Not a bad place to be as well. Let's look at the defensive player of the year. Aiden Hutchinson, obviously coming back from injury, leads that at plus 650. Micah Parsons, plus 700. Myles Garrett, plus 850. TJ Watt, plus 1,000. Will Anderson, plus 1,300. Jared Verse, plus 1,500. Max Crosby, 16-1. Not a bad one there. Nick Bosa, 20-1, and he's won the defensive player. He won defensive player of the year. Trey Hendrickson, Jalen Carter, that's another good one. Jalen Carter at plus 2,250 is a pretty good look there. So a lot of options there. Again, I'm going off of Hard Rock Bets on all their different awards that they have. The offensive and defensive rookie of the year, none other than Ashton Jeanty leading the odds in that at plus 275, followed by Cam Ward at plus 350. The one I really like in this for Offensive Rookie of the Year is Travis Hunter at 9-1. That seems like pretty good value. Again, this is Offensive Rookie of the Year. We'll see where he lands in Defensive Rookie of the Year as well. But all things kind of pointing to him getting more snaps on the offensive side of the ball, much more than the defensive side of the ball. Although I think you're going to see packages with both because he is just a freak athlete that you just don't see come through very often. Tyler Shuck, 12-1 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tatiria McMillan, 12-1. Omarion Hampton, 13-1. He's a running back out of North Carolina. Quinshon Judkins he went to Ohio State. He's 20-1, and then it kind of continues on down there. Shedeur Sanders at 25-1 to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Moving on to the Defensive Rookie of the Year, you've got Abdul Carter out of Penn State. He is plus 260, followed by Jalen Walker at plus 700. Travis Hunter, 10-1. He's 9-1 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, 10-1 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So pretty impressive to be in the top 5 odds to win your Rookie of the Years in 2 separate categories. Just shows how much of a freak that guy really is. Mason Graham, 12-1. Mikael Williams, San Francisco 49er rookie. I've got a feature on him, and I'm glad I did when I was 11-1 when I did that. And he is currently now, what did I just say? Defensive. I got to go back. That's what happens when you go from 1 to he went up a little bit. He's 12-1 now. So, hey, that's one I think might be a pretty good futures bet there for the defensive rookie of the year. We've already talked about it, but I've got it open. Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, and Buffalo Bills all plus 700 to win Super Bowl 60. So if you're wanting to throw some money out there, you've got 3 teams with the same odds to kind of choose from. And then the Kansas City Chiefs 8-1, Detroit Lions 10-1, Commanders plus 1750, Bengals 20-1, Rams same thing, Packers same thing, Niners same thing, all 20-1 there. And then it jumps up to the Minnesota Vikings at plus 2500. Exact result. There's a lot of different stuff you can do here on Hard Rock now, especially prior to the seasons. You can even bet the finalists. If you get that exactly right, all the odds are pretty good on that one. If you went with the Ravens versus the Eagles, you'd be looking at 20-1 odds there. Bills versus the Eagles, 20-1. A rematch of last year's Super Bowl would also be 20-1, which is kind of looking like it's moving in that direction, depending on if the Kansas City Chiefs can keep up the momentum they've been rocking and rolling with. You got both conference championships as well, but that's kind of a moot point because it kind of follows in there with the Super Bowl odds. MLB trade deadline coming up soon, but will the trade deadline be a dud this year? Carlos Alcaraz has officially moved on to the semifinals. Couple teams there. Tigers are still baseball's best team. Executives in Jason's column. This is from the the Bleacher Report. No, Athletic, which is tied to the New York Post. The Tigers are still baseball's best team. Executive in Jason's column talked about the Dodgers, of course, but Detroit counts the most wins at 58 and the best pitcher in the league with Tariq Skubal in the game. Honorable mention goes to Toronto. That's MLB's hottest team and the new AL East leader. Of course, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Athletics received plenty of deserved flack about playing in Sacramento, which is a purposeful move, while Tampa Bay continues to play elite baseball despite playing home games at another minor league park. That's Steinbrenner Field, I believe, where the Yankees play their spring training. Despite playing home games there and continuing to pinch pennies, they're on pace for 87 wins this season. The trade deadline might be indeed a dud. MLB's expanded playoff format means more teams are in the hunt for a postseason spot, which means fewer teams are giving up at the halfway point. Fewer sellers means fewer trades, which is a good thing for the competitive baseball and a bad thing for trade deadline intrigue. All good things. Should we just temper expectations come July 31st? Obviously, that kind of makes sense. The trade deadline, always been kind of very exciting, but more teams getting into the playoffs now, so maybe not seeing as many moves because teams may like the position they're in. Be interesting to see what the Atlanta Braves do with the trade deadline coming up here in about 3.
Well, they're going to have to do something and do something fast.
Yes, absolutely, very, very fast. This is almost an afternoon delight debrief, but kind of an interesting thing. French Olympic fencer Youssoupha Thabous will not face anti-doping penalties after the Court of Arbitration for the sport accepted her explanation that kissing a former partner contaminated her with an illegal substance. Thabous was suspended last year after testing positive for austerity, a drug that can promote muscle and bone growth. Her partner, according to accepted testimony, had been taking that without her knowledge. So she's officially been, for all you fencing fans out there, she's officially been taken off the suspension. So if you were worried about that, you don't have to worry anymore. The Tour de France is also going on. My dad is a huge fan of the Tour de France. I really don't know what's going on in it, but maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later on. What else can we talk about here for a couple minutes, Randy? Who do you think is going to lead the SEC this year?
Alabama.
Ooh, fair guess.
Yeah,
fair guess.
I think so. I think when that Alabama-Florida State game hits, I think we're going to know real quick how Alabama's going to look and how Florida State's going to look for this year.
I wonder what the line is on that game.
That's a great question.
Let me see if I can find.
But I think it was a smart move. Bringing Gus Malzahn in. I mean, the guy's an unbelievable, offensive guy.
He's a great offensive guy, no doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt.
And I think he'll thrive in that role because there's a huge difference between being a head coach and a coordinator. You don't have the pressure and all that, and you can really spend your time, with your team and getting them, on the right road. So I don't know. I think Florida State it all depends on if they have the players in place to execute.
Of course, yeah. Right now, Alabama is a 12.5-point favorite in that game, which is at August 30th at 2:30 p.m. Alabama 12.5-point favorite, over under 50.5. I think as of right now, I'd take Alabama laying the points and the under 50.5. Yeah. Unless Alabama just goes off in that particular game.
Alabama's defense should be strong this year. I guess the question with them is, what's the offense going to look like?
Absolutely. Yeah. Which quarterback are you going with? How's he going to do? Obviously, last year and the year before with the other quarterback, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I was trying to find some other big games in that second week.
Oh, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
LSU and is it Clemson?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, there's multiple big games, like SEC versus SEC.
Auburn Baylor, that's on the 29th at 7 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. Auburn, a 2.5-point favorite in that one on the road against Baylor. That's a huge game for Auburn to try to get the momentum going for this season. You don't want to lose that one and then, come back home and have to play some cupcake games.
Did you happen to see the post on X that Lane Kiffin made about Hugh Freeze
playing so much golf? I mean, everybody's going to look for something to criticize. Ironically, when I was with St. Joe working at Shark's Tooth and Camp Creek, that summer that I was there, Hugh Freeze, I think, was not back coaching yet, or maybe he was going to be coaching Liberty at that time, but he was probably out there 3-4 times a week.
Come on.
I mean, the guy's an avid golfer, so, I mean, nobody criticized Nick Saban when he was playing golf. But
no, that's exactly right.
But also, Nick Saban probably wasn't playing as much golf as Hugh Freeze has. And, so.
I think this is Auburn's year.
Yeah, I hope so.
I do. I think
it's been a long time in the making, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
I'm rooting for him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're an affiliate here, the Auburn Tigers, and if you want to jump in on some of that action and be a part of the coverage, we'd love to have you. But we appreciate you hanging out with us on this Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll have Chef Ross in studio, and of course, Keith Fleming coming up at noon. Don't forget, you can watch us tonight on the 2 Off the Tee podcast.
Now, where's that?
It's fantasy6pack.net, or you can just go to YouTube and search up Fantasy Six Pack, and the show will be live probably about 8 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone.
I haven't seen it. You'll have to send me a link.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys listening to us today. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4, followed by your Atlanta Braves. Coverage starts at 7:50. First pitch 9:05 against those A's. Y'all have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.
The game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, some sun and 87 with a gentle breeze out of the west-southwest at 11 miles per hour. For tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low near 80. Tomorrow, variety of some sun and a likelihood of thunderstorms and a high around 87. For Thursday, likely thunderstorms and a high of 86. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
The 4th of July mattress sale continues here at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center today and you can still save up to $500 on all Tempur-Breeze mattresses. Tempur-Pedic, made in the USA. And available at...
where it's bedtime all day long.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com TempurPedic.com.
The 4th of July mattress sale continues here at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center today and you can still save up to $500 on all Tempur-Breeze mattresses. Tempur-Pedic, made in the USA. And available at
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Previously on The Herd.
push rewind.